So welcome to Richardson Plano Networkers training today, and we're going to actually go over the first answer to this question. What if you could start or restart and you could guarantee your success? You could ensure that you had success in what you did. I'm going to give you just the beginning of what we call what we started to call the vision challenge, to begin to get your mindset on how you can actually grow and develop your business in a way that I think in the long run, I know in the long run, will ensure your success if you do it. Now I'm going to tell you, I started to tell you when I handed out the handouts here, I'm telling you that you're going to need to take notes, and I'm not going to give all the answers. We've only got 30 minutes, so I'm not going to give you all the answers. So what this is going to do, hopefully, for those of you who really want to achieve what the answer to the question is, you're going to need to act. You're going to need to work on these things. You're going to need to flesh these things out. There's going to be certain things that come to your mind, and then as we go through it. Okay, so let me jump to the second slide, which is not that. For some reason, I would just. That's why this is live, right? Why is it going to?
You talk.
Yeah, I'm trying to get that PowerPoint to advance, and it's not. Okay, so really, time on that, but I have a 30-year plus background in basically working with all kinds of businesses. Started out working with very large businesses, names you may know like General Motors, a company called EDS, which is now HP Enterprise, et cetera, and so on. Also worked with churches and ministries, and the last probably 8 or 9 years been working much more with smaller businesses. So that's kind of my background. I'm going to kind of share with you some of the learnings that we've obtained from working with those kind of companies. The first question is, are you an aspirational leader? Or do you know what an aspirational leader is? Well, I asked you a question before about, are you satisfied with where you're at? No. Okay. Do you have an idea of what you're aspiring to? Can anybody, and again, I'm not trying to put anybody on the spot, but if you could just say, if there was anything that you were aspiring to do right now with your business or your life that you could share, what would that be? Yeah, John?
To have more than 10 people at my funeral.
Okay.
To actually be creating a traffic jam when people go to my grave. That's
an awesome thing, because the real question is, an aspirational leader generally wants to accomplish something like a legacy. Is not really looking just at themselves. They look at things somewhat holistically, or they realize that it's very holistic. A lot of times you say, and the reason why it's aspirational leader is because it's almost impossible to lead anybody, whether it's your family or a company or your customer or whatever, if you don't have a clear vision and a passion for what it is you're going to do. So the important thing to understand is, if you don't have something like a legacy, and the thing is that legacy, does it want to impact 10 people? That's okay. There's nothing wrong with just saying, okay, I'm really focused on my family. I want my kids to have an inheritance. I want them to think that they had a good dad. I want to have all those things, right? That's very normal. But if you have an aspiration, or if you were talking, do you want to impact 10 people, or 100 people, or 1,000 people, or millions of people? Okay, that's something to understand. Is that how are you? What is the game you want to play? What is the life you want to lead? So one of the things is that guy in motion. The reason why I want to do this, because a lot of people on the previous. That's okay. I'll keep that slide up, because what I want to say is that a lot of people think because they're in motion, they're aspiring. Because they're busy, they're aspiring. The key is, aspiring to just continue to get to tomorrow is not what I would call an aspirational leader. Aspiring to maintain what I call the license to operate. Do you understand what that means? That means doing your business, the day-to-day. That's what you do to pay the bills. If that's what you're doing, again, that's okay. But what I'm talking about is something more, something transformational, something that you really maybe have not in your head, but more in your heart. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's where we're going with this. One of the things is, if you you can pay millions of dollars. I mean, I worked in a consulting company, okay? You can pay millions of dollars to people who will tell you how to take your business forward. Do you know that? And guess what they do? They'll say, okay, let's go back and look at your history. Let's see where your strengths are. Let's see where your weaknesses are, okay? Let's look at the landscape in front of us. Let's look at the world around us. And let's say, what are the opportunities and threats presented by that environment? Anybody ever get that advice? Anybody ever say, have you heard of SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats? That's something that's very common in the business world. That's something that a lot of business consultants will work with you and say, if you're a business owner or small or large, is that, go that path. What this really is that this step function here is at best what you would achieve if you're working with your traditional approach. The reality, which is basically you'll go a little ways and then you'll stop and you'll go a little ways further. And all those times and all those steps, they're going to come back to you and let's do the same analysis. So let's analyze the data. Let's project where we're going to go. Let's set our goal a little higher. And it's incremental. And you pay a lot of money for that. The reality of it is, the way that I say to ensure that you are going to be successful is, especially today. Today, things are happening exponentially. Do you believe that? Yeah. That the world is changing exponentially? When the world's changing exponentially, two things happen. Either you spend a lot of money and you continue to be unfulfilled, or you become paralyzed. And the thing is, too many leaders, your customers, the people you talk to, even yourself, you're so paralyzed with, okay, there's a million things I could do. Mel's got a good service. You've got good tchotchkes. I mean, everybody's got different things that they could do that are good things, right? But what's the most important thing? What are the things that I really need to be spending my time and money on today? That's a hard question to answer. And so most CEOs of multi-billion-dollar companies are paralyzed because they don't have the answer. They know a lot of things to do. They don't know necessarily the best thing to do or what to do next. Would that be a good question to be able to answer yourself? Would that be a good question to be able to have your customers know, so they know when they're buying what you have to sell, that that's the most important thing they needed to do today? That's what it means to look at that little gold star up there is really your future. That's the vision, that's the place that we want to get to. That holistic, total place where you say, that's where I want to be. And then once you know where you want to be, then the how and the what, the various things that you need to do become relevant. Then it becomes, how am I equipped? Where am I at today to get to there, right? But until you know where you want to be, how are you going to know how to get there? Too many people just start in motion. That's not an aspirational leader knows what they're aspiring to, knows it, and it knows it somewhat holistically. So the question is, I'm not trying to overwhelm you here. This little simple set of slides that you can put note pages to, I'm going to go through. If you break this down and you start to complete this, and again, you won't do that in the course of this 30 minutes, but if you take this away, then you will be able to begin to get a picture in your own mind, a full picture, and it's your picture of what it is that you want to do. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay. So that's somewhat of the introduction. So here, you've heard me say this a million times probably if you've been around me, is if anything were possible, what kind of future could you imagine for yourself and your business? So, okay, what I just said, anything were possible. Does your past matter? No. No, it doesn't. Does the environment around you matter? No, that's not how you answer that question. What you've done before, what you succeeded at before, what you failed at before, none of that matters until you answer the question, if anything were possible, what kind of future could I imagine? I didn't ask you, how are you going to get there? I didn't ask you, could you see the steps in achieving that particular goal or dream or objective? Those are more traditional thought processes. It's more like a dream, but it's not a pipe dream because, again, the idea is to come up with that vision in your own mind, in your own business, in your own life, and define there then how to align what you need to achieve that. But until you answer that question, not only are you not guaranteed success, you're most likely guaranteed never to achieve it. Okay? So I hope that people here watching the video or people that are here in this room have an aspiration to do something more than just what they're confronted with tomorrow. They want to do things intentionally, living life or doing their business intentionally and by design. Does that make sense? That's where we want to go. So I'm going to come back to that in a minute, but let's break this down a little bit. So first, you. Okay, here's the part that you can't change. This is your soul. This is who you are. This is the beginning and the end of your story. You are a unique, chosen person to accomplish something, whether you want to believe it or not. You were put here for a purpose. I believe this. There's a reason why you're taking up space in this room, eating the food that they served you, and breathing the air, the oxygen that's in here. If there wasn't, I don't believe you would be here. I believe we all have a purpose, right? Okay, so because of that, yeah, thank you. That's good. So that part we're going to work with as it is. Now we'll talk about the things that surround you and kind of break down what paints it. So you are part of the picture. Guess what? No matter, you can't get out. Okay, so we're talking about that aspiration, that dream, that vision. You're in it. Okay, so you don't have to worry. We aren't going to cut you out. Okay, we're not going to cut you out. This is funny. I often say I really want to make sure that nobody gets confused here. I tell a story. Some of you have heard me tell the story before, but sitting down with my daughter, we're saying her prayers. I'm really having one of these intimate moments with my daughter, and I'm sitting there, and I you just get real emotional. Do you ever get emotional? I have 5 kids, right? You ever get emotional and you want to tell them something, and I'm just overwhelmed with emotion. My daughter did something, I don't remember, and I'm not going to say which one. I have 4 daughters, so if they're watching, if they watch this, they won't know who I'm talking about because they probably don't even remember because they were little. And so I'm sitting there and I'm talking to her, and I said, honey, there's nobody like you in the whole world. Just, and she looked at me, and her little lips started to quiver, and I thought, oh, good, she's getting emotional. She really felt the emotion that I felt, right? The lip quivered, and she looked at me, and she says, nobody likes you either. So what I don't want to happen here is you come away and feel like, I'm saying something bad to you, or I'm trying to chastise you, I'm trying to, discourage you. My whole point here is to encourage you, to help you understand that there's so much more for all of us, for me. I'm not just talking to you, I talk to me. When I talk about this, I talk to myself. So you are the beginning and the end. And you kind of start with you, but then through the things that come into your life, and here's the first part of the picture. What do you want to be? What do you want your beliefs to be? You get to choose what you believe. You get to choose what your norms and the way you view the world. You get to really design your own worldview. This is Gandhi. You've probably heard this before, right? Your beliefs become your thoughts, or thoughts become our words, or words become our habits become our values become our destiny. Okay? Now we'll talk about how to influence. Some people call it memes, some people call it, just our belief system, who we are. But that's something that you can say. So kind of, not that you can start anywhere in the things that I'm going to break down, but you need to kind of start, make a note here and say, I need to kind of define who I want to be. What is my epitaph? What is going to be said about me at my funeral? What kind of person am I? What are they, not only how am I going to be, because your belief, that your destiny, who you are, who you end your story with or as, is going to be fundamentally how your beliefs are formed. So you need to do that intentionally. Okay, let's do the next one. The other thing is, this is one that always speaks to me, is your physical body, your health, your energy. Do you want to get to the point in your life where you can't get from point A to point B? I know we have people here selling energy. We have people that can do things to help you with your fitness. Some things, people that can talk to you and counsel with you about your diet. There's a lot of different things, right? That's important. That's part of the picture. Are you in the picture? We already have determined you're in the picture. What is that goal? What is that dream? What is that, if anything were possible? I want to have a six-pack. I want people to look at me and go, whoa, you know, anybody else have that dream? Anybody know how to get there? You know, that's the point. Why not, you know, if you don't have that dream, are you ever going to have the six-pack? No. So I've got it. I'm confessing to you right now, and you can look at me and say, he failed. Okay, he doesn't know how to get there. It doesn't matter. I can still have that aspiration. I can still have that desire, just for me. I don't necessarily have a desire to make everybody else have a six-pack. I'm not impacting the world that way. It doesn't. But for me, my body, my health, my energy, my ability to play with my grandkids, okay, and see myself being the most active grandpa on the planet, right? That's what I'm about. So and I'm going through these quickly. So make some notes this is your work. I'm just kind of hopefully motivating you to think about these things. I'm not answering your questions because they're your answers. This is pulling the stuff out of you. This is what we do. This is in you, not me. You're not doing what I say. You're not living my dream. You need to live your dream. You need to have an aspiration to achieve what you want. The personality, your talents. Are there things that you're doing that you're passionate, you love, whatever, that you're not exercising? You know, I constantly ask people, this is something I'm passionate about. Can you tell?
Yeah.
Okay, just a little. Okay, so what I'm saying is find things that you're passionate about and make sure that you're exercising those in your world. Make sure you're blessing other people and sharing. That's why we have this Friday session. And so you guys, or you can find people that bless you that we can actually contribute, right? That's part of it. What are my beliefs? What are my personality traits? We all have gifts. We all have, in my way of believing, God-given gifts that we were born with, that God chose to give us, that we either exercise or we don't. Are you using them? Do you have an aspiration or a dream? Can you see that picture now in the future? And it doesn't have to be a long time, because once you figure it out, guess what? You can set 90-day to 12-month goals to get there. But you're never going to get there in the entirety of your life if you don't paint this picture now. That's why I'm getting excited about this. The next one is your connection to a higher source. I'm not going to get religious on you. I'm not going to preach to you. I'm not going to do any of those kinds of things. Some people are into the universe. Some people believe in the God of the universe. Some people believe in themselves. That's not my point. The thing is, you have to be connected to something that really is inside you. And what does that look like? What do you want your faith to be? What do you want your spiritual connection to be? Do you have an aspiration there? Or are you all set? And if you're all set, that's okay. Any of these areas, you may say, I got this one. This is what I'm doing. This is what I want to do. Never want to stop doing this. That's totally fine. Doesn't mean you have to change your vision in every area. But you have to say, if I'm going to get to here in my business, what does the rest of my life look like? Anybody ever been aspiring or doing well or working in their business really hard and something happens with their marriage, or a loss of a loved one, or a loss of a job? You know, anything like that ever derail anybody besides me? Absolutely. Okay? So having a connection to a higher source, some grounding, and knowing that those things go beyond you and go beyond your current temporal experience are going to be critical to getting to that place that you now set your goals on, okay? So let's go to the next one. Your relationships. Anybody recognize the misspelling there? Family. I didn't say friends because people get confused with Facebook. Facebook friends aren't necessarily friends. These are the people that are close to you. These are your friends, the close friends. The people that you can talk to about things. Your family. I didn't say Facebook friend. Oh, I'm live. Okay, that's cool. She's checking to see if we're actually broadcasting. That's awesome. So thank you guys for being there. I see we have some folks online, and I appreciate that. So family. These are the people that are close. We'll talk about network next, but in a minute. But family. What is your relationship with your family? What is your dream for? I know Virginia, she's looking at me real close right now because that's her passion. not only for herself, but for others. She wants to convey that to others. How do you become meaningful to the most important people in your life? Does that matter? Or is that not part of the thing? See, the thing is, if you just look at your business, are you buying what I'm selling here? I mean, are you getting it? You picking up what I'm putting down? I mean, the point here is that if you just look at one part, your business, and you exclude the other parts of your business in the picture, what happens? They conflict. One starts working against the other. If you want to get to a certain point in your business or your career and you spend all your time and you never see your family and your kids all go off and do drugs and get in trouble and all these other types of things, is that going to be a good plan? Do you think you'll achieve it? No. So the reality is, let's paint the picture of what your dream story or what your vision looks like that includes the relationship you want to have with your kids, because you want to get everybody there together. You want to get all of them there at the end of the day. And not everybody's decisions are the same. Realize, you see how this is very personal and very unique to every individual? You see why this is hard for me to do this kind of thing to a group? Okay. Or even to explain. Okay, the next one is your network. And that's change, the ability to access, communicate, leverage, motivate your network. What does that look like? Here's an area, I don't have to tell anybody here, we're on Facebook Live. We have LinkedIn. We had training on LinkedIn last week. We are using Meetup to schedule. We're doing all of these things. Technology and how to build and grow and nurture your network is changing dramatically. So you need to think about, what does it look like in the future? How am I going to build the relationships? How am I going to grow my business? What does my network look like? Is your network big enough? Anybody's got the big enough network right now? No. Anybody got enough clients right now? Anybody got enough business partners right now? No. So nobody does, right? So obviously you're going to aspire to do something. And if anything were possible, how many like me would like to be, whenever my name showed up on the Facebook feed, that everybody on Facebook wanted to see what I had to say? And say, Dave really adds value. I want to hear what Dave has to say. I want to know that, because you know what? Because networking, we talked about this, relationships and stuff, isn't about what you get, it's what you give. And I want to give everything God's given me to give to everybody I can. That's my vision. May not be yours, but that's mine. Okay? So this is, again, very personal to me. We'll keep moving, because again, you're not going to solve this problem. Your business, your financial, your business and financial, your personal finances, what's that look like? Do you have, you have to go to work, you have to do something in order to pay the bills. Are you in a place, do you want to be in a place, is your dream to be in a place where money is not the factor for how you decide what you do? If that's the dream, then there's things to get there, but the reality is that if anything were possible, what would you like it to be? What would you like your business to look like? Is it the business you're in? Can be, may not. Are you settling? The thing is, if you don't make a plan to go out to eat, and you say, this is what the meal experience I want to have and what I want to do, and you get your spouse and you put her in the car and you just start driving, where are you going to go? You're going to go to the places you're familiar with. You're going to know where they are. You're not, and is it going to be the best meal you've ever had? Probably not. Is it going to meet your expectations? Probably not. So understand that making a plan and understanding what your business looks like, what it is, what the experience you want to have, and what your financial situation is, and other aspects of your business, and it's not the only ones. But it's interesting, you notice this is the first time I talked about business? Really? Because this is where this is an aspect. Now, this is a business meeting, you're business owners and business professionals and that kind of thing. But it's just a part. It's an important part. But if you just do that, look at all the stuff that potentially could be in conflict, right? Okay, next. The other thing is, what does your technology look like? Has that changed for anybody else? Technology? Do you like, this, oh my, yeah. I mean, the thing is, it is what it is. What does it look like in the future? What could you envision? Could you envision, where do you live? What is your, the technology that you're using, the things at your disposal, where you live, where you work? Do you want to work at home? Do you want to work on the car? Do you want to work In an office, what do you want to do? What is your vision? What, if anything were possible, would you ever commute to an office? I don't know, maybe you like that. I miss the interaction with people. One of the things that I've had to do working from home for probably over 15 years or more is I've had to find ways to come hang out with guys like you and other people to get my people fix. Because to me, not going to a place where I'm forced to interact with people at the water cooler is not as exciting to me as to meet people. But that's just me. Again, what is it to you? Maybe I know people that are, that would rather just never have to interact with people at all, face to face. That's okay too. But what is it? What does the technology enable you to do? Your environment, your geography. Where do you want to live? Is Dallas where you want to be? If the ideal vision, anything were possible, you'd still be in Dallas. That's okay. Most people, Dallas natives, would say, absolutely, I'd never leave Texas is it. I wasn't born and raised here. I love it here. If anything were possible, actually, believe it or not, this is a picture of my desired and dream environment. In fact, I have alignment with my wife on that. Is more of an urban setting where everything's happening and going on. Now your dream place might be in the mountains or on the ocean. I want to be in an urban setting on the ocean with mountains in the background. That's no. I mean, hey, if anything were possible, right? If anything were possible, why are you limiting? I guarantee you, what you need to think, be self-aware here. As you're doing this, be self-aware. What's going through your head as you're thinking about if anything were possible that's saying, yeah, but I can't do that because of this. Or how would I, and note those things, because that's how you're going to make this. This is a journey. This isn't an answer. This isn't a one-shot. We're starting a journey. So the question then comes to a very simple one. A lot of people say is why? Once you start then saying, this is the picture, here's those pieces that I just shared with you, then always keep asking yourself as you're going through, not how, not who's going to help me, not what's going to get in my way, none of those things yet, because you're not ready for that yet. To be successful, to start right, you need to say, at each of those things, why is that my picture? And when you ask that question, why, you're going to find some reasons. And you're going to find actually some whys that basically will tell you you're making excuses and you haven't released to anything's possible yet. You with me? Because you're going to say, why? I'm doing this because this is what somebody else wants me to do. Or I want to do this because... But your why is much bigger than that. You understand? This is all becomes, because what you really want is your why to be the achievement of that vision, that dream that you set out. Do you think anything can stop you in your business or in your pursuits or your aspirations if you had clarity, total clarity on what that is? Do you think anything could really stop you? I don't think so. I know, I'm looking at all of you. I know every one of you in here could do anything. I tell my kids this all the time. You can do anything you set your mind to and are willing to work at and you want to do. And I would say that to you. You're not kids, but I say that to myself. We all self-limit, but I'm just telling you your why, and that why being your dream story is going to take you to where you want to go in your business. So, now that we've gone through that, and I realize you probably didn't answer it the first time, but the real question is, if anything were possible, what kind of future would you imagine for yourself and your business? Is it bigger now?
Yeah.
Is it more complete now? Would it feel more real if you answered those questions? Right. So that's what we're really embarking to do. And go ahead and go to the next slide. Is that this is something that I've invested in, and Jenna's helped me, and some others are going to be involved in. You may be involved in, but we're working on a nonprofit. How do you take your business to the next level? And we're going to launch it starting when October 17th, and it's just emails, and it's going to help you to actually, we call it the Vision Challenge, and I'm going to work with you and anybody who's interested through an interactive. It's not. This is not meetings. This is emails and posts and Facebook group and some other things to hopefully my passion to hopefully transfer that value to those who care to continue to answer these questions. I've always felt a little uncomfortable about actually even doing this session because I felt it would leave everybody empty or leave you going, okay, well, I want more, and there's not enough of me to go around, and there's not enough of the people that I would bring in to do it. And I really thought, okay, I really want to figure out a way to impact and grow this movement, and what we're calling businessgrowthnetwork.org intentionally, because it's a not-for-profit type of endeavor that we're doing to try and bring not only the in-face networking and whatever, but actually expand it to other groups and things like that. This is the beginning. We're going to start with the vision. We want business owners who have that passion, who have that dream, who want to move forward, and we want to be able to bring what they need to the table to help them do that, starting with that picture, okay? So that's kind of it. I'm done, and appreciate everybody. Okay, any questions or anything? If not, we'll go to the last part of our agenda, which Mark will negotiate here. But thank you for your attention.